Okay, we are live. Welcome back to the Entrepreneur Hour, where we help entrepreneurs and investors profit more through technology. Today, my special guests are Ahmed and
Khalil.
Khalil. Sorry, I
No,
get better with these
that's
names.
the one they always struggle with. That's the one they always struggle with.
You're the one I've been going back and forth
I
too.
know.
It's just real interesting because growing up, they used to struggle with me more, but lately it's Khalil.
Lately it's me all the time.
So game developers, I was really interested in talking to you guys because for the past month I've been working with a lot of youth in my nonprofit called Meta Bronx, and they all want to learn how to make games. So I put out a word to my whole network. Hey, does anybody know any game developers? Hopefully some game developers of color, but any game developers, to just give people insights, these young people some insights. And somebody was like, I interviewed these two young guys that are making a game. You should check out their stuff. So I looked at your game and I was like, whoa, this is kind of crazy. And I tweeted one of you, I don't know if it's both of you, and you responded right away. Thank you. So now I start the show always, how do we meet? I just said how we met. I just tweeted these guys and they answered, right? Yeah. But now, what is your origin story? I would love to hear your backgrounds. How'd you get into gaming development?
I mean, we've been playing games since I was like 4 and he was 3. Our mom got us on the original NES. That was the first game I actually ever played was Mario, like the original Mario. So we were hooked to games ever since then. And it's kind of funny because my mom used to work at Toys R Us, so she would like bring us home like the toys on clearance, the old games and stuff like that. And we didn't care if it was a year old. To us as kids, they were always brand new. And so even just growing up, we played all types of games. Like we had anything from your typical like adventure games, your Mario, to even just like gambling, like casino games and stuff. She just brought us home like anything that was like on the shelf or whatever, because just like the leftover games that like Toys R Us was getting rid of, which was cool. So we got to like try out a bunch of different games growing up. But that carried into a passion. When we got to like middle schoolish, high school area, we actually used to play a game that we called Companies. And literally the game was like, my brother had a game company, I had a game company, and we would make believe that we were like game developers trying to take down each other's companies. Like we had real legit console wars, no joke. And
that's super cool.
Yeah, there was a monopoly money involved and everything. Like it was crazy.
Wow.
So, and that kind of built our entrepreneur passion combined with the video game thing. And once we got to college, we knew we wanted to get into gaming. We didn't really have like a strong development background. So we started studying computer science at UMass because we just figured like, computer science, games, like they're gonna mesh together. Unfortunately, by the time we got to our senior year, there was no like game development class or anything like that until I randomly found like a small, I think it was like a 10-person class where they were teaching Flash development.
Oh, yeah, I'm a Flash guy.
Yeah, that was like the Unity back in the day.
Yeah.
So for me, I went crazy. I was like, yo, I get to finally make a game. I'm gonna go all out on this, even if I don't know anything. I'm gonna go all out. So there was a midterm that came up to make a very simple Flash game. And like I was just spending hours at night, not because I cared about the A, because I just had an opportunity to make a game. And they gave me that little gem of knowledge of like, this is how you make a guy move on the screen. I ran away with it. So I made a game called SwimSanity, The Adventures of the Scuba Diver. And it was based off a Nintendo game where Mario would go down to the bottom of the ocean to try to grab gold and bring it back up to his boat while trying to avoid an octopus. So I took that and I basically added like jellyfish, blowfish, some eels and stuff like that, and just had a bunch of craziness. And like people in my class started playing it like when I wasn't there and stuff, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So then Ahmed was a junior at that time, and he kind of saw that, and he kind of saw the potential and stuff. And he's like, let's see what we can do with this, right? So he started looking into how exactly you get a game on consoles, and what we would need to learn, and the fact that he thought we needed to change the name, things like that. And like honestly, like not to skip a bunch of steps, but from there it was like a year after year thing of us teaching ourselves how to do game development. And
how many years would you say?
Yeah, it's about 8 years. Really, honestly, up to this game, because I mean, launching a game, as you said, it was a learning process for us. So because we're self-published, self-funded, and self-taught on the development side, so just launching SwimSanity was a learning process. So we're even learning now, post-release, how do you support the game and all that. So really this game to us felt like a project. We kept having a prototype, we scrapped it, and then we'd improve on it, scrapped it and improve on it. And in that time too, we kept building our business relationships with like Xbox, Nintendo, Sony in order for us to get on those platforms. So yeah, it was really this full process. And now we feel like, we took our final exam and now we kind of know that we got the answer sheet and now we know how to do better on the next project.
So I guess talk about that part, building a relationship with those monsters of companies, right? Like Xbox, I see it's on Nintendo Switch. How do you go from, I'm assuming Unity, or you built this in Unity?
Yeah, Unity. Yeah,
how do you go from just making a Unity game to getting on Steam, Nintendo, Xbox? How do you get to that?
Yeah, so there's different levels to it. So there are platforms where you can release your game that you really don't need any interaction with individuals of the actual business. So you talked about Steam. People release games on itch.io. So if you develop a game on Unity for PC or for Mac, you can always release on those platforms and anyone can prototype your game, which is definitely something encouraged in the beginning process. So people can just start playing and you get feedback.
Is that what you guys did? Is that what you guys did?
So for us, we had a demo that we actually hosted on our website because itch.io might have been around.
I don't think it was around back then.
Yeah, because
if it was, I didn't know about it.
Yeah, I didn't really know about it too much. When we first started, there's for the, I don't know if you remember on Xbox Live Arcade, they had all those games coming. It's kind of like that indie boom. And then they had like Xbox Live Indies. And we were trying to get on like that platform, which was more entry level. So we created a PC game where people can play, but we like interacting with people. So our focus was conventions and small showcases. So that's where we had our opportunity to have people play. And when we talked about how do you get the relationships with the business leaders that are there for these different platforms, that's where you can really get those relationships and start building. And it doesn't have to be the big shows like PAX East. We always talk about the fact that Nintendo, who's been a major supporter of us and done so much for us, we met them in Harlem at a show, Game Devs in Color. A very small show, like 300 people, but it was very personable, and that kicked off, a great relationship with them. So,
so you put yourself out there by going to events and meeting people. That it wasn't like,
it doesn't always have to be, a certain way. We always feel like that's the best way. Obviously, the situation now, everyone's doing things virtually, but it never hurts to, send a cool email or just, even tweet or just show your work. You never know who's going to knock on your door. I mean, we still have those surprises now of different companies just reaching out. And, just there's always so many different ways. So don't feel there's only one way to do it.
Yeah, I would say just be aggressive. If you sit behind your computer and make a game and just that's it, no one's ever going to see your game or anything that you're working on.
Sure.
But if you get aggressive and, I'm gonna email this out to 100 media publications. If 2 of them respond, hey, that's a success in my opinion, right? Because that's 2 more than the 30 would have gone the other way around.
One responds, exactly.
One responds, exactly, yeah.
So is this game based on your original game? Because it is a swim game, right? It's an underwater game. Is it still of that same lineage?
Exactly, yeah. A lot of iterations, but yeah, it's based off that same prototype. And like I said, we use the project to teach ourselves how to make games. So essentially what we do, we work on it for like a year or 2. We'd evaluate the game, see what we liked and see what we didn't like, see where our skills were at that point. Because every time we did a new iteration, where we were at the end versus the beginning, we knew all these new different things. We're like, all right, let's do it again with what we know. Until we finally hit a point where we're like, okay, this is what we want to go to market with. And it just kind of takes that patience and dedication and also just improving yourself.
So you would say 8 years. So you're saying it took 8 years from idea to getting something on the store?
Yeah, I mean, but if you think about it, like I know 8 years sounds like a long time, but you talk to a lot of people who go and get like formal education. Like how long is formal education? You do 4 years in your bachelor's and maybe you go do your 4 years in your master's. So
yeah.
It's not that much different than going and getting a formal education. You just have to have that patience. And I guess the other thing we should add too is to make sure that we were able to like support ourselves. We use like the education that we got before to get ourselves regular jobs that had nothing to do with game development because things are just easier. Yeah, just to pay the bills. Like things are easy to do if you have food on the table, if your lights are on.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That's actually a common misconception that I even have, taken on, which is you got to be all in burn the ships. There's no going back. Right. But a lot of the most successful entrepreneurs actually have very good backup plans.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and I didn't know that actually until I read this book called The Innovators or something. I forgot the name of it. I'll link it eventually. But and Bill Gates, all these big guys, they all had backup plans.
Right.
You know, it wasn't like they just dove into like murky waters.
Right.
So 8 years, that's good. It's just good to understand because I think a lot of people don't understand the true timelines of things, right? You get into something, you're like, hold up, why I'm not rich? It's like been 6 months. What's going on here, right? It's like, no. Like, listen, you know, like, so it's really interesting to know that from the first time you started even playing around with game development to now, it's been 8 years. But to me, it's a success just getting on the store. I'm listening to this book called, I'll find it as we talk. Well, I'll bring it up. And it talks about all the crazy stories of the top games that you see now, how much like carnage and like it almost went out of business right before, you know. So the game, how tell me about some of your possible horror stories so far. Have you had any like almost given up points with this?
You definitely face a lot of obstacles. I think you're talking about the Into the Pixel book. It's a really good book.
Yes.
Really good read. We actually read that while doing this because just get an understanding what goes on in the background. Our first beta was really tough. That was a tough one because that was the first time launching online beta. You just don't know what to expect. And right when you launch it, like no one could get into any matches or anything. And it was cool.
Oh, wait, this is on your website, the first beta that was on your website.
So this one was actually our first beta of Steam. Yeah. So we had people go on Steam, download the game. It was the first time I played online. In that period when it happened, basically when the players entered a match, like no one could get in there. It was cool though because people were literally waiting till midnight to play. So
that happened in the book. That happened to I think Diablo or something like that, right? Diablo had the same problem where
That was, by the way, I mean, that was 2 a.m. and like it was funny because that night we're like, hey, as long as we like don't release, everyone will go to sleep. And it was 2 a.m. People were like, where's the game? We're like, yo, this is crazy. They need to go to sleep so we can get extra 5 hours. But
I'm fixing bugs like last minute and it just breaks more things and all that.
So you both develop on the game and design too? Or did you guys work with other designers?
Yeah, so we have the dev team is four people. So we have someone who does the art, like the stills, like the images and stuff like that. And then we have someone who did the music as well. But then pretty much everything else, like Ahmed does UI, animation. I did a lot of like level design. I've done some physics. Ahmed did all the net code. And then even within that, we have to wear a lot of different hats to like exchange that information.
Multiplayer stuff.
Yeah. And then like that's not even getting to like the business side of things. So that's just on the game itself.
Yeah, that's the true life of an entrepreneur. It's like you got to do everything. At first, you got to do everything. So there's already some questions coming in. So I'm going to start asking them. Asking what is the game? So in the description, it's called SwimSanity. Why don't you explain really quickly what the game is, what people can expect when they play it?
Sure. Yeah, it's a 4-player underwater shooter with competitive and cooperative game modes. We could play with or against your friends. Basically, you control this player. He's called a MUBA. He's a like underwater aquatic hero. He's equipped with all these different weapons to battle these sea creatures and stuff. And it's really just like a pick up and play game. We have like a full-blown adventure mode, which is like a boss battle mode, playing with up to 4 people. We have like a survival horde mode, and then on the versus side, you have your like standard deathmatch, capture the flag, and elimination. On top of that, the game's on crossplay as well, so you can play across right now, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and Steam, soon to be PS4.
You guys made a good decision not using Unreal then, because you'd have been screwed right now. You don't know what I'm talking about. Apple just like
The little trouble.
Yeah. But go ahead. Okay, that's awesome. So a lot of multiplayer, underwater. There's like kind of story mode and then multiplayer, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And how'd you guys figure out what type of features? But you know what? Let me ask the other questions first, then I'll ask you.
Yeah.
So someone is asking, they're curious to know what mics you're using. What headphones you got?
These are Turtle Beach headphones. They actually were given to us for a different for the Facebook Oculus thing. They send us some headphones. Let us know. Are they good? Are they working well?
Yeah,
I guess so. Because that guy, he has mics, so he's like, "Whoa, what's going on? Your mic is." Yeah. I gotta check for myself too.
Turtle Beach free advertisement. Shout out. Okay.
Yeah. So Adrian says, you know what it takes? Takes 10 years to build a business, a successful business. So you guys have been in it 8 years already. So 2 more years. Don't worry, you're almost there. Exactly. Can you show us some early designs and concepts? I know that might be hard to do live right now, but maybe you could put links in the comments later. If you guys have anything like that anywhere, Pinterest board or anything like that. All right. So what's the name of the game? And what engine did you use? So this is someone who just got on, but if you could. Yeah.
Yes. SwimSanity. It's built on Unity.
Unity. So I've been telling you guys, Unity's free and it builds most of these games, and the link is in the description. So check it out. One more question. What was the creative process that went into making the game? Did you all get inspired from another game?
Yeah, absolutely. So we played a lot of multiplayer games growing up, Khalil and I. So Bomberman was a big game for us that we played. And Power Stone for the Dreamcast, Power Stone 2, even more specifically, which they need to make a part 3. I don't know what they're doing. So you'll see actually a lot of elements for both those games, just something that you can just jump in. It's easy to play, but also has some layers to master. And we knew when Khalil made his game on that Flash game for SwimSanity, the one just picking up the gold, we're like, we got to start somewhere. So people really like the game in the classroom. So we knew if we can morph that world into a multiplayer experience, having it be underwater, this dual stick shooter, we felt like that made it very unique. And having something that just was like the ultimate multiplayer, whether it's on co-op or the versus side. So we took a lot of inspiration for that and wanted to kind of innovate on retro aspects of the game.
All right. Oh, more questions. All right. What impact does or / should this game have on the people who play it? Well, that's a tough one. How you answer that? Go ahead, go.
Yeah, if it's ruining your friendships because that's the impact we're looking for. No, I'm just playing. It's a good time. Like I said, our prime of gaming was like N64 era. If I were to be like, what was like the major point? So like games like Mario Party and stuff, where you just kind of pick up and play with 4 people. And have a good time. But now obviously with the modern effects, of like online play and crossplay and stuff, now you don't have to be in the same room. So it gives that couch co-op vibe, but with people around the world.
So, okay. Zithin, I don't know how to say the name. Hello, I'm curious to know about what motivates you to continue going for your dream and career. What motivates you guys because you still have other jobs, obviously, right? You just landed this Steam, so it's not like you're rich yet. So you must have other jobs, right? So
we actually went full time last June. So since June 2019, we've been full time. As you said, it's having a business plan. For us, we always had the entrepreneur spirit. So what motivates us is just seeing how much people enjoy the game, seeing that we're actually providing impact, doing things like this, really, to be able to go out here and be on a platform to hopefully inspire other people to do the same thing, especially people of color, that we just need more representation in the industry. So all of those things come together and we get that feedback almost on a daily basis. So we're very blessed to have that. So there's so many things we could grab from to be motivated, but this is what we love to do. This is our passion. So we're very self-motivated people. So we have a ceiling that is much higher than this, we believe, and we're just keep working towards that and, keep getting game after game and see if we get there.
Yeah, a lot of people like ask us like what's like success for video games, what's success for SwimSanity. I'm like, honestly, as long as I can make another game, like, and if that means that SwimSanity makes 0 sales and I just start from scratch and make another game, that's success to me. Like I'm motivated to do what's next. So making another game.
You got one sale from me. I told my sons already, we're gonna have to make a video of you stream playing it. But and also the Bronx Gaming League, which is something that we're working on, they're gonna see this too. So one thing I tell people though, based on what you said, is once you find what you really enjoy, it's not work anymore. So it's not even really about motivating yourself, because it's like, it's kind of like a religion in a way. Like you kind of got to try it. It's like, there's no going back, like how could you work doing what you love and then go to do something you hate again? It's really hard. So once you get into it, you're like, I'm not going back. I got to
sure.
do whatever it takes to
stay
stay doing this. So you work as hard as you need. I always tell people I work 150 hours a week for myself before I work 40 for somebody else.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we had stable jobs before this. Like we both looked at solution consultants at a corporate company doing software sales for business. Like we could have stayed on that path and been fine, but it just wasn't our passion. So I enjoy this with way more risk and doing it in passion than having that secure job sitting behind a desk and making money for someone else. That just doesn't feel as satisfying as doing what I'm doing now.
All right, so she says, thank you. You can call me Nat. And is there a gameplay or trailer for us to check out?
Sure
I definitely put the link in the description. I'm not sure if we could pull up a trailer. I don't think it plays well on here, so I'll link to it in the description, or we put it in the chat. Maybe you guys can put it in the chat. I'm not sure, but we'll definitely show you guys. All right, so what advice do you guys have for those that want to start creating games?
Start now. Like
start.
There's no reason to wait. Like you're saying, Unity's free. There's a lot of other free engines as well. Even Unreal's taken a lot of steps to make it more accessible. Honestly, even if there's so many tutorials online now where you don't even have to like go to school to learn how to make games
at all.
At all. And even if at the end of the month you've gotten to the point where you can get a block moving from one end of the screen to the other, that's success, right?
That's
so I honestly think the only way you could fail is to just keep on saying, no, I'll wait till this happens, or I'll wait till next year when I start. If you can honestly, like, you can do stuff on your phone. So just start now.
All right. So I just put, Khalil just gave me the link. I put it in the chat. You guys can check it out.
That's the old picture. That's not the trailer. That's the picture of our old game versus now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I put the trailer in the YouTube chat.
Okay, got it. Awesome. Thanks. All right, let's see what else we got. Wait, there was another. Yep. Okay. So, what was something challenging while doing your game?
A lot.
So many things.
Every day.
I'll say probably one of the biggest ones for us was once we had our first online beta and we weren't satisfied with the netcode, like there was a lot of lag and stuff like that, and coming to the realization that we had to essentially like start it from scratch and do it over.
When you say netcode, do you mean the multiplayer?
Yeah, correct.
Yep.
Coming to the realization that we had to kind of start that from scratch and start all over, and the fact that it did affect other aspects of our game while we had a lot of other opportunities coming in expecting a certain release date. That was a bit of a tough pill to swallow, but honestly, after going through it, I'm glad that we went through it for a few different reasons. It taught us a lot about how to manage our time, basically how to manage your public commitments a bit better. And then also just in general, like the fact that you don't strike gold right away. Like, honestly, you have to plan for that. Things might not go right.
I tell entrepreneurs all the time, if you're not willing to start over,
right,
don't even start, because you're probably going to have to start over.
Right. Yeah.
Like, it's very rare where you don't have to. So if you get to a point where you're like, yeah, I'm not willing to start this over, then it's not a good time.
You probably didn't want to do it from the get-go.
Yeah, pretty much. So another question, have you guys worked on any other games? Are you working on a new game? Or I know you just launched, so it's like probably hard for you guys to be thinking of the next one, but question, I guess.
Yeah, no, we actually have a pretty good idea what our next couple of games will be. We haven't started developing on it because we're still supporting SwimSanity. Like I said, we have our PS4 launch coming very soon, but we have 2 big free updates to the game that we want to address some of the feedback and also just really improve on it for people that are playing. So we have downloadable content that's going to come in the future as well. So you'll definitely see support for SwimSanity, but we plan on trying to transition to that next game to some point next year, and like I said, keep this ship flowing.
For sure. So the game company is called Decoy Games, right?
Is it?
You got the shirt. Yeah, as well. Because I didn't link to that, but I just wanted to. So your goal is to create a game company, right? Where you have a game come out every few years or something like that. Is that the goal?
Yeah, that's the basis of it. We're not limited to that for sure. There's other things that we definitely are looking into getting into, like whether it's like clothes or maybe something animated or something like that. But honestly, we're open to a lot of different things. We usually word decoy games because we feel like on the surface, while we're a game company, we feel like it's a decoy for something much bigger.
That's awesome. I like that. That's good. So what I always ask entrepreneurs on here, because I have entrepreneurs, I have developers, I have investors watching. What do you feel like you need to go to the next level? Like what is your biggest need right now? I know you just launched the game, so you need everybody to download the game, buy it, support young game developers that look like you. Definitely before, and what else? Is there anything else you're looking for right now?
Yeah, so just as far as support, you can follow us on Twitter, Decoy Games, Facebook, Decoy Games, Instagram, Decoy Games_official. Join our Discord, just search SwimSanity. We're always up there talking and answering questions. It doesn't have to be about SwimSanity. Support the game. Tell your friends about it. Tell us about it if you like it or don't like it. We're just looking to grow and do bigger things in the future. So any support that we can get is awesome. But other than that, we just need support and time, and we're pretty confident that we can get to where we need to.
So as people that have been in the industry, I guess, for 8 years, what do you see as the future of game development, game design? What are you seeing as in the next 10 years? Because I feel like VR is taking a real push, but I'm not sure. I'm not in it every day like you guys. What are you guys thinking about the future of the gaming industry?
Yeah, it shifts a lot. So even within our 8-year period, there's been so many different models that have been shifting.
You mean like freemium and stuff like that?
I mean, we had the free to play popped up. I mean, you have, most things were local. Now more games are online. I do think this whole Xbox Game Pass thing might set a trend, especially if that's
explain what it is, because I don't know what it is.
Yeah, so Xbox Game Pass, if you have an Xbox, you can basically just pay for a subscription, a lot like Netflix, and then you get this library.
PlayStation does it too, right? PlayStation kind of does it.
Yeah, so PlayStation has PlayStation Now, which you're paying to stream the game. So it's not as, I would say, like, I think people would want to have, don't need the internet to play and have a stream game. I do think this Xbox Game Pass model, I think people will try to replicate it. I mean, anytime you have a subscription model, that's what everyone
wants. It's good for business.
Subscription business is where you get the money. So if you can find out a way that can work, it's happened to the music industry, it's happened to the film industry.
But as game developers, is it good for game developers? Because I feel like those type of things, they kind of limit how much you can make, right? Because they're not going to pay you the full $24.99. I know there's definitely percentages they take, but when it's streamed like that, how does the payment work though?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely will be interesting to see how it affects developers. It's hard to say if it's positive or negative yet. I think we're still in the testing phase.
Early, yeah.
When you go into those things, you obviously have to negotiate and feel like if it's best fit for you. But there's actually some good articles out there. I saw even one talking about, is stuff like this devaluing a game? Meaning, do people not see the value in paying for a game?
Yeah.
Or am I just going to wait till it's a service? At the same time, look, if you're on that service, I mean, you get a lot of people right away to play your game. It's a great way to start.
Especially early, right? Like guys like you who got in right in the early point, you guys are going to be like one of very few games on there. There's going to be a lot of traffic. I just do wonder, like the Netflix model. I know it's one of the best business models you can have because every month what money's coming in for Netflix and for Xbox. But as a creator, I know from that side, it is heavily based on how many people use your game. Right? I mean, watch your content. So in this case, I wonder how they do it. Is it minutes played? They pay you based on how many, do you know how it works? Like, is it by play or is it by how much time they spend on your game?
Yeah, I'll say this. I mean, we don't know the exact model for Xbox Game Pass. And even if we did know, we couldn't disclose that. That's just the way the business works. So, but and you can look at public articles. Anyone that's on Game Pass has talked very positive about it. So I think getting on there is definitely something I think is very positive for people, which is different from like a Spotify, right? Because I mean, clearly the music industry, the actual artists do not like Spotify. You don't get much out of that. That's not the case so far with something like a Game Pass. So I'm glad if we are going in that direction, it seems that the developers that are part of it, it's positive for them. So we'll have to see though if how that affects maybe the developers that aren't in it, if their games are being devalued. So there's a balance, and things shift all the time. So we'll see.
Yeah, I would say for the developers that are, and especially first time indies, the way I've always thought about things is like, even going to conventions is like, give me the people. I'll handle how I like keeping those people after that. Exactly. Like if you can give me a bunch of people up front at a low price, I can then monetize that after. And like, as long as I'm providing good content to them, you've provided me that connection. So now I can work that.
So, all right, we got more questions. So how long does it take to create a whole game? Now that you guys know what you know, not without the learning, how long do you think it would take you now at the skill set you are to start a game and finish it?
There's never one answer to that, because it depends on the kind of game you're making, right? Like, are you making Call of Duty, or are you making like Flappy Bird, right?
Yeah,
it depends on like, also, do you have a team of 100 or do you have a team of 2?
100%,
so
100%.
I think the best way for me to answer is like, if we started from scratch and made SwimSanity all over again, what would you say, Ahmed? Like, with a 3-4 man team, 2 years, 1 or 2 years?
I'd probably say a year.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that when we did the netcode with the online play code again, we basically had to recode the whole game in like the logic of the game, this logic loop of the game in like 6 months. So that was just between Khalil and I right there. So we've always felt, after we did that, we're like, if we really need to just do this all again or something and remaster it, it probably wouldn't take too long.
So
we're part-time for a lot of that.
Yeah, that part-time too. Yeah, on that one.
Wow. So you're saying QA and all that, QA, quality assurance, if you don't know what QA means, but like testing, right? That's part of where the year.
Significant amount. Yeah, we've been done before we released in August. And we kept telling people, like, trust me, we've been done since January. It's just going through the process and releasing on all consoles, that certification, and make sure the QA is there, and different testing and the marketing. So yeah, games are done, at least a first product of it, well before they release. There's just so much that happens after that. So you have to make sure you factor that in, especially if you want a successful release.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, software. I tell these young people, right, watching, gaming and making a website, very similar. Making a game is 1,000 times harder than making a website. So if you're interested in making games, you can pretty much make anything, right? So, understanding the QA process is a big part of the job, right? You have to make sure it works for the people you want to make it work for. So I have a question though about your business model. Is there any in-app purchases or anything like that? But you just did straight up $25 and you get everything? Or is there any ongoing kind of business model ideas?
Yeah, we have no plans for like in-app purchases for SwimSanity. We're just doing the upfront price, and then probably like we're gonna do both paid and free DLC, so we're not separating the community. But yeah, we have plans to support the game for sure, and additional content and whatnot.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I always wonder about that, especially. All right, so now we are making a game because of the Meta Bronx team has wanted to. What advice would you give young people, other than just start right now, but like what process would you take if you said first do this, second do this, third do this, or more than that? What would you say the steps are?
I think the first thing as far as just game development in general, people always think game development, they're like, I need to be a programmer, but the game industry has grown so much that you can be a voice actor, you could be an actor just in general, right? There's so many different, you could do music, sound effects, animation. There's so many different avenues that fit into gaming. Find out what your specialty is. That would be step one, I think. I think the other thing is kind of like doing your networking and researching, right? Obviously once things get back to normal, going to local and bigger conventions to shake hands with other indies and AAA studios and find out how they got into the industry, or even going to some virtual meetups and stuff and doing the same thing. I think
virtual is all you got right now. So it's much easier though now.
It's there.
Go to meetups in Germany today, if you want it, right? So, and I think that's gonna do a big benefit for networking in general.
For sure.
I think, because now everybody on the meeting side, meetup side, is more comfortable making their stuff virtual. So it just puts you in a lot more rooms. I think it's just up to you to get in there, show your face, and talk.
Sure.
So, all right. So what would you say is the process though? You're saying definitely starting networking, but and figuring out where you fit, because like I told them, actually, I said the same thing. you don't have to code to make a game. And I'm going to put you in a position where none of us is going to code, but we're going to launch a game. I'm going to pay for the development of it, but you're going to see that there's a bunch of stuff around the coding of the game, and we're going to do that part, right? So what would you say, though, for us to have a successful, we're not going to spend 8 years and full time, but what would you say for us to have a successful release of a game? And by successful, I guess people downloading it, like 1,000 people downloading it. What would you say?
Definitely like testing, making sure you're focusing on the marketing of your game, right? So once again, don't just make a game and sit behind a computer. Get your social media and press kits lined up, right? So get your portfolio together. Your portfolio should have like a trailer of your game, possibly like a nice, small, compact, like a sliver demo, what they call it. So just focused on what makes your game sell. It doesn't have to be the whole end-to-end thing, but just focused on like the selling points of your game. Get your press kit together so you can send that out to media. Start like a Discord or any kind of social media to gather individuals. While you're doing that, have them keep testing, create a community so that they're playing your game, they're testing it, you're getting their feedback. You're also, like I said, these are people you're going to bring into like the sale of your game. And it's really just an iterative process. The same way that like development is like trial and error, like some things are going to work, some things aren't. Promoting and marketing is trial and error too. Like you're going to try some things. You might put your game up on Instagram and get like 3 followers over the course of a year, but then later on you put your game up on Twitter and you get like 1,000 in a month, right? It's just like there's no. If there was a formula to say like you have to do A, B, C, D, we'd all be doing it, right? So you just got to keep trying different things depending on your game and your audience.
I also say focus on your own brand too. I mean, you guys have a great brand, great story. That can really bring in a lot of business as well. So always, people do care about who's behind the game, and being able to share what that story is, especially if it's very genuine and very organic. People love that, and people will love your game even more.
Yeah, 100%. That's pretty much what I've been telling them. Like we've been creating videos like this behind the scenes of us working on the game that we will release later as branding for how it was done. A bunch of young people of color in a place like the Bronx and Harlem come up with a game. It's like a story that writes itself, right?
Yeah.
So, that's definitely part of what I'm trying to teach them. And definitely having people like you come on the show and explain it has been amazing. Thank you. So we got about 20 more minutes. I'm going to ask some more of the questions. All right. And I'm trying to get some of these young people to come on the camera and ask you questions, but they're being shy.
Yeah, that happens.
Cool. But I'm telling them, look, you have to do it. All right. So, wait. All right. So you got, all right. Oh, wait, you asked that. I asked that already. You guys improved a lot. I'm looking forward to trying this out soon with my friends. Gonna save up money for it. Curious as to how it feels to be some of the only minorities in the space. How does that feel?
Yeah, I guess it's a two-headed sword, right? Like, I mean, you want to see more. You definitely want to see minorities in the space. At the same time, you feel that's one of our motivations is hopefully break down barriers and also set an example so more people get in the space. One of the things we really focus on while we're doing SwimSanity is just shedding light on different minorities that are already doing great things, which we just don't do enough for this space. I've been learning so much about certain people. I was like, wow, that like the VP of NFL gaming is a Black woman. Like,
oh, wow.
To figure out stuff like that and to then be able to show other people that that's really the case is big for us. So yeah, you want to make sure you want to make sure that we inspire other people, and that's our main thing. We do feel like there's a responsibility for us to do that.
Yeah, like when I saw the game, I was like, whoa, this looks good. Like to me, I feel like I always was one of the only minorities that worked in tech, wherever I was. So I felt like I had to represent, so they bring in more of us, right? So like I could tell you guys put some more, some special sauce there to make sure this is like a represent kind of game, right? And I could see the little, I call it like I guess the bling, like it looked like you could tell it was put in some loving in there. All right. So let's see what other questions. Is this cross-platform? So you answered that, right? So what? Talk about the process of doing that. Like, how does that work now? Where you make a game that can be played on Nintendo Switch, Xbox, PC at the same time? Is that a Unity created easy thing, or is it like the pain that it sounds like?
I think the thing I always tell people is like there's definitely implementation that goes into it. Don't take it as if there's like a crossplay button that you press and it goes on. But it's more of a political. It's honestly more of a political battle than it is a development battle. Yeah, because you have to get the attention from these consoles to then approve your game to be played across their competitors, right? Right. So that's.
I just want to show. This was from we created the cup. So you talking about merch and stuff. I showed a bunch of people that watch my show how easy it is to create a online store.
Oh,
so if you guys are interested in doing that, watch that video. But it's super easy now. But go ahead. Go. Sorry.
No, it's cool. I was just saying that it's a big political battle because you have to convince these mammoths of the industry to allow your game to be sold and played with other competitors, like within their own game. So,
and he's talking about online. He's talking about the online crossplay too,
right?
This question also is like to develop as well.
Because you're saying that the Nintendos of the world want more people on their platform, so they don't want you as much to bring in other consoles.
Correct.
So that's a political thing that you have to speak to each thing and each entity and say, I want to do X. And then they say, yes, we'll allow it before you even start coding it.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. You have to get approved before you even go through. Like you can't just go and say that, we're going to play cross-platform. And specifically for ours, like our network code was something that was built outside of like the Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation infrastructure. So honestly, by default, when you turn on our online play, it already is cross-platform. You actually have to do more work to like block an Xbox user from playing with a PlayStation user. You know what I mean?
Got it. So because that's how Unity makes it easier to do that, but then you have to kind of work within the political systems and turn on and off once they allow.
Right. Correct.
Okay. That's pretty good. But that's also, I think that's an innovation within itself. I think that's going to change gaming huge. Like what Fortnite has done. Mm-hmm. That was the first one that I know of. I'm not sure if there were more before that, but that has changed the game, game, like pun intended. And now people like you can create environments that allow people to play all the game consoles they like.
Yeah, I think the thing that the consoles started to realize is, I think when they were first thinking about it, they were like, I don't want somebody to buy XYZ game on another console. Instead, now they're like, they realize that now a kid will actually buy their game to play with a friend who's playing on another console. So it actually helps them out in the long run.
Yeah.
It makes sense. And part of me wants to understand about the business model of it, the pricing of it. Is that something Steam? Because I've seen dollar games, I've seen $50 games. What is your thought process in coming up with a price and a business model around how much to charge and all of that? Like I haven't really known anybody I could ask this question. So what do you think of when you come up with the price and then all of that?
I think before you get too much into your game, you have to figure out who your competitors are. So what are the games you're trying to be like? How have they done well? What's their price point? So you want to see, where those games are and how they marketed. So you have to look at the room and see.
So what games did you guys compare yourselves to?
There's a lot of, we looked at the big indie publishers and then saw the games they're creating, and it changed along the way. That was the thing too. So when we first started, we're looking at just beginning of the games that came through, and then when you're on consoles, we start looking at games that went on consoles that are indie. I mean, by small teams. Then when we got onto like an indie showcase, the Nintendo Indie Showcase, we looked at the games that were in the room with us, built by different publishers. So if it's like a My Friend Pedro or different games like that, we're just saying, how did they get successful? What do we need? What path do we need to do? And that changes depending on what model you want, right? So if you want to have a free-to-play game, then you need to look at free-to-play games and how they monetize. If you want to have a game that has a price up front and then releases DLC later. You got to look how they do that. So,
Sure.
and it changes all the time. You might change that post-release. You might lower your price, and just also with the situation now, maybe people don't have as much money to spend right now. So you might want to change your price there. So it's an ever evolving thing, and you have to just make sure you're cognizant of the situation.
So I guess just like any business, I guess you gotta read the industry, read the customer wants, and then make your decisions and change it if you have to, right? Like
Right.
There's really no, I guess, like go for it strategy other than you got to make your decision and see what happens and change as you go. So Natalie asked a question: do you need a degree to become a game developer, or just need the skill? I know the answer, but it's good for you.
I typically say, like, if you can go to school and get a degree, do it. Definitely, if that's something that you can afford, if that's something that if you learn well in that kind of structure, do it. But that's not if you can't, that's not an excuse not to become a game developer. There's so many tools online now, whether it's like YouTube tutorials or just Googling different write-ups people did. There's nothing stopping you from game developing today. That's why I said the best advice earlier is just to start today. So like I said, some people learn better in structure. Some people learn better being self-educated. So I would never sit and tell you how to learn, but I can tell you that there are more avenues than just getting a formal degree.
Would you say in the last year, because of COVID, anything has changed in, like, if you had to think about this from right now, you hadn't, started later, but you're starting right now. Is there anything different you would do? Like, what would you do right now in 2020 if you knew you were making a game and you wanted to launch a game? Is there anything that has changed now?
I mean, yeah, things change. I would say, and it has really not as much to do with COVID. Literally, things change every year. I'd say through all of the years, there's something different, and we had to maybe pivot one way or another, right? So as a top off, if like Game Pass came out, is that something we want to be on? If a new consoles are launching later this year, okay, how are we going to pivot towards that? COVID-19 is happening now. How are we going to make sure people play a multiplayer game when you can't necessarily be in the same room, like it's online only? How's that handle press? So you have to handle a lot of different things. And then as beginners too, as we said, it's just a concrete example. Unity has actually made all their premium learning, online learning, free. So that's something. So jump on that. It is some very good learning stuff there. So
that's school right there. That's your degree right there, man.
Honestly, you could, if you went through that over and over, like you could become really, really, really good at Unity. So we just talked about not having to get a degree. I mean, they're providing their premium content that was behind a paywall for free now for all types of skill sets. So things change all the time.
Or is that just during COVID?
I think it used to be just during COVID, but I think recently, I have to double check. I'm pretty sure it's forever now. But as you said, jump on it before that changes, because
you never know. And they're like, all right, COVID's over.
Yeah, you know it is. So you have to definitely jump on it while it's available.
So I guess. All right, let me see if there's any other questions before I start asking. I guess part of me wants to know, because there's game designers and there's game developers. I kind of want to know, what advice would you give a game designer right now and then a game developer, right? So, because I get it. Like, I've been on both sides, and I know it's tough to do both. But right now, if you feel like you're a game designer, and only that, what would you tell a person that's in those shoes, and then from the game development side too? Is there anything you can think of?
I think, just me personally, I think that if you are a game designer, you're just getting started now, like trying to get into the industry. Given the fact that being a designer it's a bit of a lead position, because you're trying to lead a team given your vision, it doesn't hurt to get your feet wet in some other, I guess, more hands-on skills, just so you can understand the design that you're building around, right? Like, everyone has like a crazy game idea, but what actually constricts you is knowing how reachable that idea is and actually how to approach it, right? Like how to project plan and stuff around that. So I would advise game designers, whether you're doing animation or doing hands-on programming, you don't have to become a master at it by any means, but just have some understanding, or try to develop some understanding of what your resources would be doing to actually build that game. Because like, nobody wants to hear the guy who's like, hey guys, I know how to build a mansion. Like, I have a real cool mansion I want to build, but then you're sending all these orders, but you don't know the actual work going into it. So just make sure you're educated on the actual work that's going to go into your idea.
So yeah, so basically learn the other side a little bit. Be respectful of the other side, because as managing both sides and bidding on both sides, I understand that, because sometimes you get orders thrown at you like, yeah, can you have this by today? And you're like,
no, absolutely not.
yeah, exactly. So by understanding, you become a better manager and teammate, right?
Better design and a better designer too, right? Like, what's a design if you don't understand what goes into it, right? You might be saying things that are impossible.
Yep.
So it will, honestly, at the end of the day, it will help your goal of becoming a designer.
And then on the development side, because it seems like you guys wear all the hats, right? But I don't think that's normal yet, right? Like, you guys came into it. Like, I remember the Flash days. The Flash days were you did everything, right? Now I think now they're pushing people in these like separate roles, but I do believe it's better to be both. But if you are in one, so game development is a whole thing within itself. Anything you would say for someone who wants to code games? Because I know from dealing with a lot of developers, they don't tend to have the ideas. So they're looking for an idea to work on. So what would you say to a game developer? Any advice?
There's different, look for your like local communities. We always feel that you're close enough to a city-ish where there's always some type of game community, either online or one you can actually go to physically, that talks about game development. A lot of those times they hold like these game jams, which if you don't know what a game jam is, you get basically a group of strangers, you come together and you have to create a game within like a short period of time. There's been plenty of successful games that come out of that, or just ideas that just helps, and also just meeting other people. Just keep finding places where you can interact with other game developers. What would eventually happen is that you would, using their energy and using their kind of interactions, you'll start to find an idea that you want to start developing, or you can team up and start working on a project. So it's really just kind of starting to get into the community will really help.
So this that actually gives me another question that I really forgot. I'm glad I remembered. What would you say you should do to figure out if a game is fun? Like, I know you kind of lucked into it in your beginning phase, but as you got further and further along, you had to kind of learn the system. What would you tell someone to make sure you're making a game that's fun?
Yeah, see, I'll slightly disagree in the sense that even when I first started, I didn't determine my game was fun because I thought it was fun. Because like the key part of the story is like, when I made the game, I found out my game was fun because I'd come into class and I see my classmates playing it and enjoying it, right? So I determined it was fun, not by my bias and my opinion, because you're always going to like your own child. Like your own child, right? Like, but it was seeing other people play the game. So
watching them play it, like
watch them play. Yep, have other people play it. Sometimes we'll do test plays, small ones. We'll get people together, they play the game, and we don't sit there and be like, now you do this, now you do that. How do you like this? We just sit back. If they play for 5 minutes and they're like, hey guys, like, you guys want to go out and do something? They probably didn't like it all that much. But if they're like, hey, do we have to go anywhere soon? Are we good? Can we play another round? That's a good sign.
Yeah, we definitely had versions of our game that weren't fun.
That's for sure. Yeah, most definitely.
So how and what'd you go back to? Because that's product management in a way, right? So you're there, you see, do you find the point where they stop being interested and say, how can we keep them on longer? What do you do when you see it's not fun?
Yeah, we look at their mannerisms. So like for us, like we don't like to ask directly. We just read the room, if they're getting super frustrated or something. As Khalil said, I remember one of our first test plays when we had like the 4-player version all set. It just lasted like 50 minutes. We had people over our house. They just started saying they're hungry, or they just weren't that into it. And we can see them kind of calling it things they're frustrated with. Then we had another one about like a month or two later, and they played for 5 hours straight, and they didn't even know they did. No one wanted to even like eat or anything. So we knew we changed something where it's like, okay, they just want to keep playing. We had to stop.
Could you pinpoint what was changed?
Yeah. There's some serious balancing issues. And it just didn't seem fair. Like people were winning not based on their skill. It felt like it was just things that were really core game loop things that we were just missing. That sometimes it's hard to see when we're just playing, because we might just understand them, but we have to make sure they're intuitive to new players.
So you just said a term that I don't understand fully. I kind of know what it means, but maybe someone in the audience doesn't. Can you explain what game balancing means? What the balancing part of it?
Yeah, I mean, so if you play like Call of Duty online, and I mean, there's even some levels in Call of Duty right now, right, that are you go to there and you're just dying. Like, why am I getting spawn killed all the time, right? Like, and people are, is there a balance? Is there a way? The reason why you're getting spawn killed is because there's a certain way that the players are spawned on the map and the way that the different structures are leveled out that mitigate that from happening. And there might be some maps where that's designed well and some map that's not designed well. So they can see veterans in the industry are be able to, when they see something like that happen, they'll probably already pinpoint different things they need to move around in order for that to like go down. So it just depends on whether it's something like that. If you're playing something like an Overwatch, that has pretty well balanced powers for everyone, seeing if something is, like I said, overpowered or underpowered, and they balance that after release too. I mean, you're probably not how much research they did. It's still in like patch 1, it's like we nerf this or we,
so basically, if to say it in layman's term, it's just making it fair, making sure that it's fair and it doesn't feel like anything is too powerful to game the game.
Yeah, it's like sports, really. I mean, sports are what they are now because they have these rules. Things over here. It's all very balanced. It's balanced competition. You can come up with a new sport, but there's probably a lot of things you're going to have to make sure that there's always a balance there, and that probably takes a lot of years to figure out what those balances are.
And you got to take your emotions out of it because, like I said, you're dealing with something that you created, and people are going to tear it apart. Mm-hmm. And you can't get defensive and be like, "Oh, it's not this way because I think that it makes sense to be this way." Like, you got to take your emotions out of it and just listen. And that's hard. It's not easy. To say that. And I think, like, one other thing I always tell people, assuming your game is age appropriate, is get a young kid to play your game because they are the most honest players out there. They will tell you
how young.
Honestly, I don't even care if they're like 3 or 4. Like, they'll tell you to your face. It could be your own kid, and they'll be like, "Yo, this game is not fun. I'm sorry, this game's not fun. I'm not. This is boring." Like, you'll hear those words. This is boring. I don't like this.
Right away,
Ouch. All right, so we got a little bit more questions. Thank you so much, because I'm a senior now, looking for colleges that for game developing. So right there, you start with Unity's. You might save yourself $100,000 that you can put into your game.
and just on that note too, I do. If you go into college and you want to get a degree that will help with game development, I am fully supportive of computer science, because that will not only put you on a path to things that are foundational to game development, but we talked about having a backup plan. And if you do computer science, you are now opening like everything. Like, you have, your skill set is major. So highly recommend, if you're going to school, I would say I would pick computer science over a game degree, in my opinion, just because it gives you so much more flexibility.
Yeah, because all it is the same. It's the same skill set. The one thing that I would say is this whole balancing and understanding how to make sure the game is fun, but that could be more user QA than anything.
That stuff's online, and it's just putting in practice.
So another question: if I use something like PS4 Dreams, how can I protect the assets I create? Have you ever thought of anything like that? Oh, you know what though? This brings up a good question, because we're making a game right now. How do you protect the game idea?
Yeah, I think that's a 2-tier question. I think so. When you are doing stuff in like a PS4 Dreams or like a Roblox and things like that, I mean, so you're going into their game and game engine, so they're going to protect themselves as well, right? So when you're going into that type of thing, I mean, your stuff is a dream game. If they have a structure where you can sell your stuff, they'll probably make that very apparent, like say like a Roblox or whatever. Mm-hmm. But in Dreams, I mean, you're playing Dreams. Anything you create is based on Dreams, and so I don't think there's as much as protecting your assets. I'd say look at it as more of a tool for you to learn more about game design and things like that. If you want to actually build your own thing that are your assets, you're going to have to go into a game engine like Unity. And now if you go to that time, now at that point, how do I, protect my assets and things like that? A lot of the stuff, once you're actually building it and you sell on a store, there are things that just legally bind those assets to you just naturally. But you always will run into people that are trying to copycat things, especially on mobile. It depends on what length you want to go to. There are things where you can do copyrights. There are things where if you have something you want to trademark, that's something you want to do there. But getting legal counsel early on is always a good thing. But yeah, there's definitely copycatting and things like that.
I've been researching it because of the thing we're creating. there's trademarking the characters and the looks of the levels, but I've heard that you can't really trademark gameplay.
Yeah, you can't really. You'd be wasting your own time and money in that effort. I don't think that's something you want to go towards. If you're trademarking something, it'd be more like the name of your game, maybe the logo, your company name, things like that.
What about characters and stuff like that? The characters?
Yeah, if your character is very iconic and you feel it will blow up, and then that's probably something you want to do. If like you feel like you created the next Mario, then you're probably going to want to trademark that character, its name and maybe the look and things. So, but you obviously, it has to be pretty unique because if you're too vague and you're covering something too broad, you're gonna have a hard time getting that pass.
Sure, that makes sense. A few more questions, but then we already passed the hour, I think. What's a good workplace for you guys? Do you work at home or do you like leave your house to work? I'm guessing I know the answer, but go ahead.
No, we're home. Yeah, we've been home even before COVID. And I think that's going to become a lot more popular, right? I mean, I don't know if you ever heard the game Ori and the Blind Forest. Really gorgeous game on Xbox. I was shocked to hear that the second one was made by 80 people that all worked remotely. They never worked in the same workplace at all. And there's a great article. They talked about how they made that decision because it allowed them to get the best of the best in the industry of what they do, because it wasn't a contingency on like, hey, you got to come to LA or Boston to work. I've been stay where you are. Yeah, I think and companies are changing now. They're making sure people can work from home comfortably. So I think a lot of these companies, when things go back to normal, say, hey, if you want to stay home, go ahead. Like, we don't have to pay the bill.
You already see some big guys. Twitter's already saying it. And I've been running my business like that for years. I've always been like, but now COVID has really shifted the world to say, wait a minute.
Yep.
This is possible. So right. I think that's amazing. So I'm going to end the show from a quote that is awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I was going to go for game development major only, but now I'll go for computer science, so I don't limit myself. So already you changed some lives, right?
Great decision. You will not regret that decision, I promise.
So any final words for anybody watching other than definitely go download SwimSanity, links in the bio, in the description. Any final words for anyone watching?
Yeah, I know we shared a lot about ourselves today, but honestly, if you guys are working on stuff or have things that you have questions about, when I say follow us, it's not just so you can go buy SwimSanity and stuff. We mean follow us so we can interact. We even have like a developer channel on our Discord. So if you guys are working on something and want to share, or you guys have questions,
can you put your Discord in? You don't got to do it right now. Maybe in the description in YouTube. Yeah, because definitely I know a lot of these people are on Discord, a lot of them.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely reach out. I'm gonna give you the link. But yeah, definitely come talk to us about what you're doing. We always say like we were talking about before, what's like being the only minorities in the industry. Well, we can't do it by ourselves. We can't become 100 minorities. So you guys let us know what we're doing. Let's grow together.
I love it. We gotta support each other, man. So that's why, like I said, I'm gonna make my kids play your game. And I'll tell you if they say this is boring.
Yeah.
I thought even my son just seeing the trailer, he was like, "Whoa, I want to play that."
Hey, it is kid tested at this point, so
kid approved, man.
Yeah.
Approved.
Well, thank you guys. Nice meeting you virtually. Much success. I feel like you succeeded already, just getting on the store. But let's make these guys millionaires in the next Epic Games, whatever we want. But thank you guys. Thanks for everything. So another one. Thank you, Decoy, for coming on the show.
Confident Gamers, what's up, man? Shout out to Confident Gamers. They had a great stream of SwimSanity yesterday. It was amazing. Family.
Oh yeah, awesome. All right, awesome. So thank you guys. Thank you for everybody for watching. Definitely download the game. Follow Decoy Games. And thank you for watching Entrepreneur. Innovate every day. Thank you.
Thank y'all.